All right. Well, we are at 12 o'clock noon. I know that we'll probably have some more people joining us, but I'm going to get us going because we have an hour-long information-packed lunch and learn. I'm hoping that everyone will walk away with some nuggets that they may either be enlightened by some new information or maybe they can implement some new strategies into their overall business and approach to, advocating for home ownership. So with that, I'm not going to talk too long, but I am the vice president of the Washington Mortgage Bankers Association. My name is Andy McDonough. Lisa DeBron and the Washington State Housing Finance Commission, we've partnered together on these. Gosh, it's been over a year now, which is pretty crazy, but we're doing them on a quarterly basis. And there's definitely more information that we can share with you guys in an ongoing manner. I do want to highlight one quick thing for you all, and I'll mention it again at the end. This is a great partnership. A lot of what we do together is try to educate people, share information, and hopefully inspire further engagement as we advocate towards home ownership for all. With that said, we are the lucky recipients, and we have the honor to host the annual Pacific Northwest Mortgage Lenders Conference, which we're hosting in downtown Seattle, September 22nd through 24th. Just to give you an idea, Lisa's going to be on a panel, and it is an advocating for home ownership panel. We've got lots of other really awesome national and local speakers talking about the future of real estate, talking about technology, the changing landscape of our regulatory environment. We have the Vice President of Government Affairs and State and Local Relationships from the National MBA. Let's see, we have local realtors and local lenders that are going to be talking about all these kind of topics that I've just mentioned. The title of our conference this year is called Innovate to Elevate. And, if you have any questions, let me know. I will post the link for that event. But we're looking for, early registrants and attendees. And we also have sponsorship opportunities. We've got a big jump on the amount of sponsors that we've already established and committed to. But, this is going to be a day and a half event, basically Sunday night reception, all Monday, and then half of Tuesday. And like I said, we have amazing speakers that are going to be delving into really timely and important topics. Again, also like the settlement, NAR settlement, that's going to be hot off the press or right around that time. So if you want to learn, not just for your own personal business, but have a broader awareness to what's happening in our industry, this is the kind of event you want to go to. So feel free to reach out to myself or the Washington Mortgage Bankers Association with any questions or concerns or inquiries, and I will also post the link to the site for the conference. So with that, I want to turn things over to Dietrich Schmitz and welcome you guys all to this wonderful lunch and learn event that we have put together today. Dietrich is the down payment assistance administrator, and he will be leading a discussion with two key people at the Washington Homeownership Resource Center. And I'm actually personally really excited to learn more about what you guys are doing there. And in fact, I would like to invite one of you to potentially be on a panel for our conference. I know that there's another conference right after that. Lisa's going to be able to join us on Monday, but that would be the time that if somebody's available, I think, a representative from your organization might fit in perfectly for the panel. But with that, I'm going to mute myself. I'll jump back on in the end. And Dietrich, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you all very much for joining us.
All right. Thanks so much for having us here. Really quite happy to be here and to tell you about one of the great resources in Washington State, the Washington Homeownership Resource Center. A little bit of background on myself to start with. I am the Down Payment Assistance Program Administrator at the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. I oversee a lot of program operations and oversight, a lot of the specialty stuff, and have been here at the commission now for 9.5 years. Prior to that, I was a mortgage broker and correspondent lender and worked for a number of different, held the mortgage loan officer's license. So I do have some strong familiarity with the mortgage process. And I think the Washington Homeownership Resource Center is really quite a fantastic resource to know about. I really didn't know that these things existed when I was a loan officer, so I want to share some information with you. I'm going to start with some introductions. And first of all, I'm going to introduce Elizabeth Perez. She's the Deputy Director of the Washington Homeownership Resource Center. Elizabeth began her career as an educator and administrator, supporting communities underserved by K through 12 and higher education. At the WHRC, Elizabeth applies her skills as an equity-minded leader, community builder, and financial wellness geek. Home ownership. Elizabeth is based in Pullman. Elizabeth, do you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Really excited to join you today. So special thanks to the Washington State Housing Finance Commission as well as the WMBA for welcoming us and looking forward to this lunch and learn.
Lovely. And now I'm going to introduce to you Raquel, and I didn't learn to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, but I'll let you give it a shot because you'll do just fine with it. Raquel is the Program and Partnerships Coordinator at the Washington Homeownership Resource Center, where she leads referral partner engagement activities and conducts outreach statewide. Prior to joining WHRC, Raquel worked for a local housing authority, coordinating the family self-sufficiency programs and assisting families in applying for housing and homeownership assistance. Raquel is based in the Tri-Cities. Raquel, you want to say hello and tell me, how do you pronounce your last name?
Yes, hi, my name is Raquel and it's Munguia. And I'm not sure yet, but I might be Okamoto later. For right now, I'm still Munguia. Yeah, I'm excited to be here and share with you guys all the fantastic work we're doing here.
That's wonderful. Great. Now, as I said, I was a loan officer in my past life but never really knew about resources like this. For starters, how would you guys describe what the Washington Homeownership Resource Center does for Washingtonians?
Yeah, I can take that. We actually have some slides that we've put together that might help illustrate that as well. So I'll just touch upon the first couple, Raquel, if you want to share screen, and we can do that.
Hope you all can see that okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Raquel. All right, let's go ahead and go over to the next slide, please.
Let's let me go.
It's okay, but I think probably slide 3, which has our there we go, our mission. Back one, yeah, thanks so much. All right. So Washington Homeownership Resource Center is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we've been around since 1995, which means we're about to hit our 30-year anniversary next year. So planning some festivities, stay tuned. Our mission is to increase and preserve homeownership in Washington State by educating and empowering current and future homeowners. And we do this in a number of ways. Next slide, please. All right, so a little bit about the work that we do and why we are a kind of go-to resource for all 39 counties for home buyers and homeowners with a myriad of concerns or questions. So first of all, I would be remiss, especially in this audience, if I didn't talk a little bit about our history and our connection with the WMBA. So we were first founded by members of the Seattle Mortgage Bankers Association and the Washington State Housing Finance Commission way back in 1995. Since then, our work has grown and evolved. You might recall a little blip in our economy, the mortgage crisis, the Great Recession, as we now call it, and the huge wave of foreclosures that ensued. So in short, we started out as a clearinghouse and resource for home buyers, right? With special attention to the needs and empowerment of those from low to moderate income communities and first-time home buyers. But as needs evolved within the state, we also became the state's official foreclosure prevention hotline. And then we also receive calls and inquiries for a number of other things, including owner-occupied home repair. So a little bit about what types of inquiries folks come to us with and what sort of resources we can connect them to are as follow. So we do connect folks to home buyer assistance programs, pre-purchase, home buyer ed, counseling, of course, from our HUD certified housing counseling network statewide. We have a number of great partners from HUD approved agencies, mortgage and property tax foreclosure intervention. And, it's not listed here, but also seeing an increase in HOA related concerns, right? Special assessments, dues going up, and the concerns that those can cause, especially for folks who've had a reduction in income or on a fixed income, et cetera. Reverse mortgage counseling, owner occupied repair assistance, which I mentioned earlier, post-purchase education. What do I do once I'm a homeowner? How do I make sure I can maintain that or sustain that home ownership and build that generational wealth for my family? Legal aid. So sometimes our clients are in need of legal aid. We also connect folks to credit counselors. Maybe they're on a longer home ownership journey. I know you all, I'm preaching to the choir, but you may be working with folks who, are not quite ready for loan approval, might need a few other steps in terms of their income readiness, credit readiness, etc. Those are folks who can call our hotline and avail themselves of homebuyer education, resources like financial education, credit counseling, etc., to make sure that they co-create a plan with an awesome team of advocates and folks to help them and eventually are able to achieve those homeownership goals. We do also work closely with elected officials, government agencies, lenders, and community organizations to advocate for resources, programs, and protections to support homeowners across the state. So if you are interested in and fired up about increasing as well as preserving homeownership statewide, we want to work with you. So that's another way that we do this work on the macro all the way down to the micro, helping individual home buyers and homeowners. We'll pause there. I have a feeling Dietrich may have more questions.
Those are really good because these are things that I didn't know about when I was a loan originator, and I'm sure that folks could really, it's good for them to know as well. But I think, do you guys have any questions so far, or do we want to continue with the rest of that? All right, I think let's go forward with what else you got.
All right, thank you. Next slide, please. So we, as I mentioned, at WHRC support homebuyers and homeowners and homeownership advocacy and all things homeownership across our state. So I live on the Palouse. Raquel is in the Tri-Cities. We've got folks everywhere from Spokane to King County, Pierce County, Snohomish, you name it. We are ready to help. And we're a small but mighty nonprofit. We do like to know about and participate actively in regional initiatives to increase
I think we might have
homeownership.
lost Elizabeth.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. We do like to participate actively in regional initiatives to address homeownership disparities as well. And a major one that we are a proud partner of is the Black Home Initiative, which has a goal of creating opportunity for 1,500 low and moderate income Black households to own a home in King and Pierce County, namely in the priority areas of South Seattle, South King County, and North Pierce County within the next few years. So we are engaged at everything from the policy level to stewarding the hotline and making sure that we are connecting ready buyers with resources or not so ready buyers with ways that they can connect to services to begin that journey. So really happy to be a part of that initiative. There's a lot of moving parts and we can use more participation from y'all. So you can learn more about the Black Home Initiative and the great work that we're doing. It is a multi-sector effort. So we have folks from lending institutions, realty institutions, Zillow, nonprofits, developers, you name it. We can use you. And so you can go to blackhomeinitiative.org or go to our website at WHRC for more information, and we'll list our website shortly.
Elizabeth, so what connections are you see being made in the realm of the Black Home Initiative that you're seeing are helpful for folks making their way towards home ownership or even maintaining home ownership.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have more information later in the presentation about our partner engagement process and specifically our equity-minded vetting. That is making a huge difference to make sure that throughout the homeownership ecosystem, the various touch points that a home buyer might encounter, the various people and players they might encounter are folks who are really exhibiting the shared values of Black Home Initiative and are not going to do further harm to someone who may have already experienced discrimination in the home buying process. So we will talk more about that and sort of the progress that we're making there. Don't want to steal Raquel's thunder.
No
But what I
worries.
will say, what I will say is we've made a number of different things happen with Black Home Initiative in the last couple of years. There is a debt reduction fund that is standing up very soon that will provide some financial assistance to Black home buyers who are experiencing a debt-related barrier to home ownership. So that could be, you know, that they have a lingering debt that would impact their loan eligibility or just simply their ability to make monthly payments because, you know, it all comes down to budget and what we can afford. So that's a great win for us. We've had some policy wins, such as the Covenant Homeownership Act last year, which of course has resulted in the Covenant Homeownership Program, a down payment assistance program that we'll talk a little bit more about later, but that the Housing Finance Commission and Dietrich are a huge part of in terms of managing that down payment assistance. So definitely we're seeing a lot of progress in terms of creating more tools and resources, but also expanding access. There's a lot of existing resources such as housing counseling, credit counseling, just even awareness of the fact that we have homebuyer education or down payment assistance. The average folks that we're talking to day to day just aren't aware that those things exist. We can't make use of something if we don't know it exists. So that outreach is a really huge part.
Great, great.
All right. So speaking of the Covenant Homeownership Program, we weren't sure, Dietrich, if you wanted to shed some light on the program for this group, or
yes.
if you wanted us to touch upon it.
I'm more than happy to at least start the conversation if you want to pick up from there. Yeah, so the covenant homeownership, I presume at this point, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've probably heard about the covenant homeownership program. I think most folks out there have at this point, or at least have heard the phrase. Might have run by you. So back, so a year and a half ago or so, the legislature passed legislation on the Covenant Homeownership Act to begin collecting funds for a program that would help folks who had been discriminated against by the racially restrictive covenants that have been well rooted in Washington State for decades. Of course, they were no longer truly effective because of court rulings, but they did have a sizable impact on folks, on residents of Washington State who were not white in the state of Washington. And it has continued to impact the rate of home ownership to the present day with reduced home ownership rates below the white home ownership rate. So we had a study done, a very sizable one that we finally were able to publish back in March of this year. It's 197 pages, which may sound intimidating, but I will say it is a very, very excellent read on Washington State history and solutions for home ownership. And the biggest solution that's come out of it is the Covenant Down Payment Assistance Program. So for minorities who were impacted by these covenants and to date are still have a lower home ownership rate than the white home ownership rate, they are able to receive down payment assistance in the amount of up to 20% of the purchase price for buying a home in Washington State. Now, they do have to go back to being a Washington State resident or being the descendant of Washington State resident who was here prior to April 11th of 1968, as well as be a first-time home buyer and under the median income. But if they meet all those requirements, Karina Obar and I have been training mortgage loan officers around the state of Washington on how to utilize the program. And we're going to have continued trainings going on so that loan officers can know exactly what's required in documentation and best practices and all that sort of stuff. But it will get folks who meet the requirements 20% of the purchase price in down payment assistance up to $150,000, as well as closing costs on top of that. So it is a massive, massive program. And as far as its effectiveness goes, I'm really quite happy with how it's been structured and the fact that we're really giving folks who are part of communities that were adversely impacted a true, genuine, effective level of help to build generational wealth and be a part of homeownership, which really makes that happen. I think we are at the moment, so far since July 1st, we have utilized almost $2 million in funds as of this moment, from what I can see. At least that's what's been reserved. We've had at least a couple of folks actually close on it, which we're very happy about, to get those through and get some deals put in. And of course, we're always happy to answer more questions about Covenant or to direct you to the trainings if you need to go through the training so you can originate the loan product. But we're really happy that we were able to launch the program on its deadline of July 1st, or the timeline of July 1st, and get it out there functioning and actually used. And there are now homeowners in Washington State who are homeowners because of all the work the whole housing community has done to make this happen. So I'm personally very excited about it. And if you guys got any questions on Covenant, I am more than happy to answer them because it is what I've been living for the last 6 months.
Where do we find assets to share on our social media? Do you have flyers we can use with our clients? Where would we get all that?
So we do have a flyer available on our website. I can get a link posted in the chat. So you can
Posted it for you, Dietrich. It's on there. So folks,
Great.
It's the Covenant link that I shared a little bit ago, and you'll see that there is a downloadable flyer and some other great information. There's also an FAQ, so much that you can take advantage of on that webpage. And on the flyer, it does direct folks to WHRC so that home buyers can go right to us and have that centralized point of contact to get started on their journey.
Yeah, and from my experience, what I would say as far as promoting the program goes, your best actions to take are to do the training if you've not already. Make sure you really understand how the program works and its mechanics, and then just start having conversations with people. Because what I'm seeing is that when you have enough conversations, you find someone who has a family member who meets these requirements. So it's going to be normally you have your borrower, and it's not uncommon that it's going to be your borrower's grandparent who actually meets the requirements. And when you go through and you document all that and show that the grandparent, say, was Black or Native American or Hispanic, and they lived in Washington State prior to April 11th of 68, once you nail down that point, you will often have many borrowers as a result of that, because of course you're dealing with a grandchild, and it's not uncommon to have, say, now that you've documented that, to have that person have 5 to 15 descendants as a result. So the conversations that I've had with individuals in Washington State have really been some of the best way that I've found to really get the word out there, because once they understand it, they get very excited about the fact that they can get 20% down at 0% interest, no payments on it until they go and sell or move out or what have you. But it's just a chunk of money that just sits there, no interest added onto it, and gets rid of the private mortgage insurance whenever the deal is conventional. So it's a very useful lever to get people into home ownership, especially in the expensive market that's around today. And the training is on our website. It's the Advanced Down Payment Assistance Training. And I'll go ahead, I can post a link to that a little later on. What other questions do you guys have about Covenant?
Hey, I have a question about the Covenant program. So it's 20% of the purchase price. So, and there's no asset qualifier for it. So somebody can come in and put their own 20% down and then still use the 20% of the purchase price. Is that correct?
Yeah, they can add their own assets if they want. There's no asset qualification on the program, so we don't. Some of our other programs have a needs assessment that says that they can't have more than, say, $10,000 in checking savings after closing. This program does not. The Covenant program does not have that requirement. The only assessment of need that's done is that the housing payment has to be at least a quarter of their gross income, and if it's, which is pretty much universally the case in this housing market, that someone's going to have that. If for some case it wasn't, then what you would have to do is reduce the assistance, or, I mean, you could also have them buy a more expensive home, but I wouldn't really advise that. But you just have to reduce the down payment assistance till you're at that 25% mark.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Thanks so much.
Thanks
so much, Dietrich.
Yeah.
All right, Raquel, let's do next slide. We also will have additional time for more Q&A at the end. All right, so here's where I turn the time over to my colleague Raquel. She is our go-to for how to become a referral partner with Washington Homeownership Resource Center, what it means, why it matters to you. Take it away.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I want to go back one slide real quick, just to point out that we've had a couple questions about folks wanting to take the training with us. So we kind of had to refer them back to the commission. And so we just want to make sure that we are close partners with the commission, but in order to how it would work with us is that clients would contact us about the program, and then they would either get connected with a HUD certified housing counselor or a vetted lending partner. And so it's two separate things. You would still have to take the training through the commission to be able to know how the program works and offer the lending program to your home buyers. But there is also that process with us, which I will go over, about becoming a WHRC referral partner. So as Elizabeth had mentioned, we have worked alongside the BHI network since its inception, and in the interactions with our BHI members, we identified the need for a more centralized point of referral entry. And so we understand that home ownership and the process for home ownership is very overwhelming for folks, especially for those BIPOC families that have already been or gone through some inequities in the past. And so we want to ensure that that home ownership process is as smooth as possible for them. We want to create a point where they can come in and talk to one of our information and referral staff and get connected with a HUD certified housing counselor that can assist them through that journey. Or if they need a credit counseling, like Elizabeth said, we can connect them with those folks as well. We are also, as Elizabeth mentioned, the official hotline for statewide foreclosure prevention. We have also that single point of entry for BHI clients that call for BHI information, and now also for the Covenant Homeownership program. So yeah, become a referral partner with us, because if you want to get those clients sent over to you, it's important that you do that. We We are, as Liz mentioned, also a statewide organization. So a lot of these programs like the BHI might be specifically for a specific area in the state, but we are a statewide organization. We want to ensure that clients call us, have access to a lot of different referral programs that are statewide as well. We are working to expand our homeownership services. So with that, we've been expanding in the network and creating more partnerships with others that have the same shared values as we do. Lending and realty folks are the new vetted referral partners that we've added onto our resource list. And so we have been working on expanding that list with us. And that's kind of how we started creating this centralized hub, and we are becoming that centralized point of entry for anyone interested in home ownership or folks that are already homeowners and just need assistance with some. Benefits to becoming a referral partner with Washington Homeownership Resource Center is that, again, we're that centralized intake. When they call our hotline, they will speak with a information and referral staff. So they have been trained and learned what types of questions to answer for the specific need of the client. We also have those questions available on our online portal, so they can access those as well and get connected through our online portal. And with those intakes, we also create those warm handoffs. So we ensure that the client feels safe, that they are going to be connected with someone that will not perpetuate more harm and create a understanding path to that home ownership that they're looking for, or any other additional needs that they need. With that, we also want to ensure that you have access to interested clients that are ready for you to work with. So folks that we know that where they are on their homeownership journey. And so we want to make sure that you're not working with a client, let's say, that is not ready for homeownership. Maybe their journey is longer. We don't want to make sure that we're getting connected to those, but folks that are already ready for you to work with. And then another big part is making sure that we have a two-way referral partnership, ensuring that that if you have clients that come to you that are not ready for the homeownership process, that you can refer them back to someone that will get them ready for that, or get them connected with another resource that might be able to assist them. Maybe they're looking for a habitat home or a CLT. There are other homeownership opportunities that maybe they don't fit specifically in the traditional homeownership, but they can fit in another one. So we also have those resources available as well. And the last thing is that we want to ensure that there's ongoing collaboration with our network and our referral partners, advocating for homeownership across cities and ensuring that folks are aware of the inequities in homeownership, and that we're working together to create a more centralized and equal opportunity for all. And this is more of what it is and what it entails to be a referral partner with Washington Homeownership Resource Center. We have a couple minimum standards. There is a form in the beginning that you will complete and return back to us. It's called a partner interest form. And so in that interest form, it speaks about why you're interested in becoming a referral partner with Washington Homeownership Resource Center, some of the information and background of your organization or you as an individual, and what pertains to homeownership. We'll also look at your license information, geographic area that you serve, special programs or services that you offer as well. Looking at your license, we want to make sure that there are no complaints on the license. And the reason why is because we, again, want to ensure that the clients that are being served are not creating more harm for them. And so anyone that becomes a referral partner also has our same shared values, and it's not creating more harm for those clients. There is also a partnership agreement. So that partnership agreement will outline our values. You will just sign and bring that back to us. And the last thing is attending a 8-hour training. It's held over 2 days, so 2 4-hour days. The training is called Homeownership Services with the Racial Justice Lens. And the training is free of charge right now, as we're offering it until the end of the year, free of charge. And as a result of the close collaboration that Washington Homeownership Research Center has done with the Beneficial State Foundation. They actually started this training for underwriting folks, and can kind of changed a little bit of how the training is to accommodate us and all of our referral partners. So we have really worked closely with them to ensure that this training is available to all of our referral partners, whether you're a lending, realty, HUD certified housing counselor, a CLT, or a home repair service. And yeah, this training just sheds light on how the systems implemented by our government have perpetuated more harm for BIPOC families and hindered their ability to build generational wealth. If you attend this training, you will not only gain insight into the historical content, but also encourage us to think about different ways in which we can challenge ourselves and our organizations to affect change in these systems and create more opportunities for these families. So it's a great training.
Yeah, sounds really good. I think I want to sign up for it.
I think this next one is yours, Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Raquel. Raquel's been doing a great job with the launch of our upgraded referral partner engagement process. We just launched these new pieces in terms of vetting realty and lending partners in February. So there's a lot of excitement. I think that we definitely get clients to our hotline and online portal and contact form who, you know, are going to want to start with a housing counseling person first and really sort of might have a longer journey. But we know that no buyer, you know, buyers are not all the same. And some, you know, they're ready, they're income ready, they're credit ready, they're ready in all regards. But you know what? They have been turned away because of a racist system that continues to be so, right? And so they're looking a lot of times to just find someone who's going to treat them well. And I just want to underscore the importance of this vetting process. And I hope you all appreciate that layer that we're adding, right? So it's not just, you know, do you know how to do DPA, or, you know, do you know how to help someone understand a loan? It's also, you know, can we ensure that the warm handoff to you is truly warm, right? And that you are going to be able to treat folks equitably and really help them achieve their dream of homeownership. And as Dietrich mentioned earlier, for their loved ones as well, or their neighbors or fellow community members. That means, you know, the world when, and it really creates a larger effect when one person is helped. More people are going to come knocking at your door. So we've talked about becoming a referral partner with us. If you forget most of today's, you know, lunch and learn, the one thing that I think always helps people understand what is WHRC and what do they do, we are a connector and we are a homeownership hub. So we're not actually keeping, you know, sort of keeping the clients long term. We're an information and referral hub. We're like a 211 for all things homeownership. So what we're doing is folks are calling us or connecting with us. We're meeting them where they are. We're doing kind of a detailed, you know, sort of initial intake, figuring out where does someone want to live? What are their needs? What is their sort of general, you know, income, debt, you know, debt to income ratio, other factors, demographic factors, so that if they might qualify for something like Covenant Homeownership Program, we can help make them aware. And then we're really providing that initial education, what to expect on the journey, and then we're getting them to the next place, right? So just keep that in mind. We're that hub, that starting point, so that hopefully we're making together what's a really big and complex and confusing homeownership ecosystem for the customer smaller and more accessible. All right, so what are some other ways to partner with us though? Foreclosure work in the last several years. We have received funding for that piece, although it's not enough. And, we do face a funding cliff after some of our current federal funds run out. But in the past few years, we've been able to fund more of our foreclosure work than our home buyer work. But as we mentioned, calls are up, volume is up, especially with the CHP and, different home buyer resources that folks are starting to hear about. So ways that you can partner with us, if you would like to sponsor our home buyer work, if you would like to, offer grants or other financial support to us as a nonprofit and to our network, let's chat. Also, sometimes we know that WMBA or other organizations and associations in particular will have fundraisers where they have like a featured nonprofit as, a beneficiary to that fundraiser. We would love to chat more about opportunities like that. You can also sponsor smaller things like our statewide Washington Affordable Homeownership Forum that happens every June. We are always looking for sponsors to continue to grow that event. We have outgrown our venue, usually at the Tukwila Community Center. We want to be able to fundraise for a larger venue and to be able to have folks across sectors and across the state continue to make that stakeholder event work and make it successful. We also want to really foster a two-way referral connection, as Raquel mentioned earlier. So we can refer to you, those buyers who are excited to start that journey. Also, you can refer to us if you hear of someone in your community who's facing foreclosure or thinks that they might be. If you are, encountering someone, whether that's in your faith-based organization or at the grocery store or wherever, who is struggling with finding resources to pay for an owner-occupied home repair, or resources they need to age in place or stay in their home but have a disability and need wheelchair ramps, things like that. If you have home ownership concerns you encounter that are maybe not in your lane or in your area, we want to be a referral partner where you can get folks to us. And then as Raquel mentioned earlier, if you have buyers who might have a slightly longer journey, they've got some additional needs and could benefit from housing counseling, home buyer education, and just a little bit more guidance, then please refer to us and we would be more than happy to work with them. Raquel also mentioned earlier home buyers that because of their income might fare better or might be interested in community land trust options or, habitat affiliate options. Please send those our way. We have some great partners in those arenas as well for permanently affordable homeownership. We really want to make sure that we're helping all clients and that it's not a no, but it might be a not yet. Here's some additional resources to keep you on that journey if homeownership is what somebody is looking for. All right. Go ahead with next slide, Raquel.
I think that's it for us.
All right.
Elizabeth,
There
on
we
the other
go.
way, partner, we need board members.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay's one of our board. She's not just a board member. She's our board co-president. So shout out to Lindsay, has been involved with WHRC for a number of years and is fabulous. So thank you. Yes, we need more board members. So please reach out if interested.
All right, well, if you guys have any questions, you have the people here to give you answers. They are a fantastic service for the state of Washington to have, and I wish I had known about them back when I was a loan officer. So please feel free, raise your hand, pipe up, whatever you'd like. But I do have one question. Perhaps you can go into this a little bit more, but what is the WHRC portal and what's kind of the purpose of that?
Sure. Yeah, so WHRC has a number of ways that home buyers or homeowners can reach out to us with their questions. So when they go to our website, there's certainly, various resources people can read about resources and get an overview on the website. but you'll also find different areas where people were prompted to call the hotline. So we do have a toll-free hotline that's available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. People can also leave a message after hours, and we typically are able to respond within 2 business days or less. We also have a contact form on the website, and then get back to folks. They can usually list like their preferred time for us to reach out to them and what their needs are. And then we have something called the portal, and that's a little bit more self-service. Folks can answer some basic questions about why they're reaching out to us, what their needs are, and then connect with a resource a little bit more directly. So thank you for asking. I should
Sure.
also note, Lindsay, you prompted for me another thing that folks can do with us or partner with us. We are offering a lot of different like information sessions and ways that home buyers can sort of get like a taste, if you will, of like what resources are available in the state. It's not meant to replace home buyer education or housing counseling, but just providing a little bit more than what folks might get if they call the hotline. So on our website, you'll find on our homepage, if you scroll down, that there's like monthly home buyer information sessions. We would love to have some co-facilitators for those, or you're welcome to refer people to those information sessions. And then we would also love to know if you are doing any outreach events or, any sort of information sessions of your own where you could use either tablers, co-facilitators, etc.
Great. What for when folks are working with clients who don't have English as their first language or possibly don't speak English at all, how would you what advice would you give on connecting them with your services?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, half of our staff speak Spanish as well as English. So we've got folks there. They can call the hotline and speak with dedicated Spanish speakers. And then we also have interpreter services available when folks call the hotline in over 200 languages. If folks go to our website or online portal, they can also make use of the website and portal in multiple languages. So there's that. It's also got accessibility plugins. That's really important to us. I have a father as well as father-in-law who are blind. So that's really important for us that our website be accessible. And then we also have a variety of materials that can be disseminated out, print materials, brochures, one sheets. We have most of those in English and Spanish, and then our foreclosure fairness program brochures that we partnered with, other folks, including the Housing Finance Commission, Department of Commerce, and others to upgrade recently. Those are available, I think, in about a dozen languages.
That's fantastic. So oftentimes we do a lot, both at the commission and mortgage lenders, at creating homeowners and getting folks up to that point, and you guys help out tremendously with that. In the context of once someone's a homeowner, what do you think is a good message for lenders to be telling their clients about the resources that you guys have in terms of if they ever run into trouble? Like what advice would you give them so that the clients know that possibly there's help out there? That makes sense.
We joke about those, like, I've often seen those like plumbing company magnets that are like, we hope you never need our services, but in case you do, right? It's like on your fridge. And we would love like I have a little dream that when I get a few minutes, I'm going to work with one of you. And it's going to be part of the little gift or the little thing that people provide, congratulating, either realtors, lenders, both congratulating people on their home purchase, that they will have, among other things, a sticker or a magnet, or just have our information, right? Or send out our flyer and say, quite frankly, and also tongue in cheek, like, we hope you won't encounter a struggle, but because life happens, just know that if at any point you find yourself with, a reduction in income or an illness or death in the family or what have you, that there are resources available, especially here in Washington. We do have the Foreclosure Fairness Act, which provides for robust protections as well as some resources for home owners facing foreclosure. So people should know about that. It always hurts our heart when we're out in the community. And, you know, inevitably, I think Raquel, you had someone just last week or multiple someones who said, I wish we had known about you a year ago when we lost our home. And so we want to make sure there's more awareness that that this exists in our state and that people can just call. It's free to call, it's free to get help. And you know, these are vetted resources so people can rest assured they're not going to be scammed. And then in terms of home repair and post-purchase, housing counseling has got you. A lot of our partner agencies offer really great workshops on how to care for your home once you have become a homeowner.
I really love that magnet idea. I think that is just perfect. All right, what other questions do you guys have? We've got some folks here. Zainab? Do you want to come off of mute and ask your question?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm driving, so I hope you can still hear me. You were a little spotty in some areas. I wanted to follow up with the grant that is available for folks that were living here from 1968. So just to clarify, they're still gonna go through the pre-approval process, like they were buying a regular home for themselves, but they would.
And I think you're cutting out a little bit.
Given the funds they need.
So couple of things. We're gonna, I believe it's at the next Lunch and Learn. We're gonna dive deep into the covenant program. But also just to point out, we want to point out it's a loan, not a grant, but essentially you have the right idea as far as what they would have to do. But we'll dive deep on that in next month's Lunch and Learn. It's a hot topic. What other questions do you guys have?
Okay.
Dietrich, I think there was a question in the chat about the most efficient way to become a referral partner. Raquel, did you want to maybe provide, I know you presented a bit on that, but if they have additional questions like your contact or what the next step might be to register for an info session?
I was actually going to ask if I could email someone specifically that all of our forms, like our interest form, also the links for registration for the training, and kind of everything that you would need to become a referral partner. Who could I send it to? And that way they can disperse it to all of the attendees.
Send it to Ricky because I asked the question, but I found it now, I think, on your site. Send it to Dietrich, he'll send it to me.
Cool. And if not, I'll still put my email in the chat so I can send you all that information as well.
Lovely. What other questions do you guys have? We got a few minutes remaining and some great resources here to get you information that you might not have known about.
I just want to say real quick, Raquel, if you want to send me anything, we will send a recorded link out to everybody that registered. So everybody that registered, you'll get a recording. And as well, we can attach anything to that email.
Fantastic. All right. I think one thing that would be good to strengthen what you're just talking about on the ownership points. There's some of the solutions that have come up for folks who owned a home and were able to retain their home. And I didn't ask this in advance, but in case you have any specific instances that you could describe for our folks here, as far as like how you've been able to help folks to maintain and retain their homes when maybe they otherwise couldn't have if they hadn't reached out.
Yes. Thanks, Dietrich. So one of the main things that comes to my mind that I know we've done a lot of outreach in the last couple of years about, but some folks still don't know, because, we're all busy people. But if you encounter someone who may be facing foreclosure, either because they're behind on their mortgage, their homeowner assistance dues, or their property taxes, or some combination of both, they should call the WHRC hotline because we can share with them information about their rights and, you know, resources available. And one main one that is available for a limited time is called the HAF or HAF program. It's the Homeowner Assistance Fund for Washington. These were originally federal funds that were distributed to the various states through ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act. But in short, what this program provides is that for qualified applicants who are facing foreclosure, is funding to pay sometimes up to $60,000 of what it would take to get them back current on their mortgage, property tax, or HOA. So that's huge, up to $60,000. And this is not a loan. This is money that someone does not have to pay back. So this is available for a limited time. Think of it like while supplies last, right? Because we're technically at the end of the program, but there are remaining funds. So please refer anyone across the state who may be facing foreclosure.
Fantastic. That is a great resource, and I appreciate everything that you and Raquel covered today. That was just really some fantastic information, I think, for folks to know and utilize. And looks like some folks want to become referral partners with you now. So
we hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of great information. I really appreciate you guys sharing. In fact, Elizabeth, I just sent you an email because I'd like to follow up to see how the WMBA can help share this information. I mentioned to you in my email, I went to a regional HUD counselor meeting a few months back where I was invited as a speaker, and I talked about, you know, what the WMBA is about, because most folks that were in attendance didn't know anything about the WMBA. And I'd like to say, similar to what we've heard earlier, like the first 15 years of my career, I had blinders on. I was just worried about, you know, how I'm going to build my business. I didn't know anything about the advocacy and the different organizations. And, you know, by participating in that conference and being on a panel, it was pretty clear to me, like, we have a lot of different organizations and people that are involved in this industry in whatever capacity, but we don't know enough about each other. And that's, to me, that's a gap that we need to fill. That's an opportunity that I'm committed to as the incoming president of the WMBA. Like, we need to have a louder voice. We need to share more information amongst each other so that, you know, we can tap into our sphere of networks and our networks to be able to let people know, like what you just said there. I guarantee you nobody knows about that. And the covenant, you know, we're happy to be able to talk about that as a whole hour-long lunch and learn, because that is valuable information. So really, I'm reaching out to you in particular to say, hey, let's get together and let's figure out a way where, you know, whether it's posting on our website or talking about things at our monthly events or in our president's message, monthly communications, like there's a way we can incorporate more valuable information, because we're all advocating for home ownership for everyone. So I just see it as a unique opportunity for us to strengthen those ties and relationships and have a greater voice. Here's a quick example, and then I'll be done, I promise. But today, the National Mortgage Bankers Association, we have a group that's called Mortgage Action Alliance, and anybody can sign up for it. But basically, the MBA is staying close to government affairs. And today, they're advocating for us to chime into our senators and bring up the fact that we don't like trigger leads. Now, maybe you might not know what that is, but basically, when credit bureaus sell the information that a client has applied for a home loan, like we've had experiences where this person would receive literally 100 phone calls and text messages within the hour after they hit the apply button, which is just like, that is so bad for all lenders, for our business. And so we're actively advocating to have a new law in place that will stop trigger leads. Just a quick example, that because it was fresh off the press today. But anyway, more than anything, I really want to thank Dietrich, the commission, you know, the Homeownership Resource Center. You guys are all doing beautiful, great work in helping people. And that's what we're all about. Like, everyone here has the honor and privilege to help people achieve the dream of homeownership. And that's what we're all committed to. So thank you very much for everything that you shared today. And we look forward to strengthening those ties and partnerships forward. As I mentioned, send me all the information, the deck, whatever you guys want to share, and we'll make sure it gets out to everyone. And if you want to share this recording with somebody, feel free. Once we send it out, it might take us a couple days, but we will be sending it out. And the more value add lunch and learns, and if you guys want to get together, feel free to reach out. I do have to do another plug for the Pacific Northwest Mortgage Lenders Conference. This is an example of how we're bringing all kinds of people from different roles, different positions, different decision makers, whatever level of participation, to talk about advocating for home ownership. So with that, I'll say goodbye to everybody. I'll close this down, and thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Raquel, and thank you, Dietrich, for your participation.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your week, and here's to much happiness. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.